Alright, I'm going to give my opinion on the pet goat cartoon, or animated short as it says. Now, before I get started, special thanks to Pete Levine that yesterday spent several hours with me going through this second by second, stopping every few seconds, and literally, just like we're going to do today, going through every single detail of this while we thought it out. And he gave me a lot of new information I'd never thought of before. And the reason we did this is because you'll see right off the bat a symbol that is possibly related to July 4. Because let's just go ahead and start. Let me show you. We'll get in and we'll start seeing. Look, we'll get a little bit farther. There's a crescent moon that you're going to see several times already on the doorknob. So keep that in mind. And there's already a hammer and sickle symbol around the this house that this goat's going to come out here, and you'll see that hammer and sickle sign again too. But as far as the July 4th part, look what happens when we go a little further and we see a man walking a dog right here scratched into it, and that's the dog's on a leash, because the dog represents Sirius, or the dog star, and July 4th is when Sirius is at its highest point in the sky. And so that's why July 4th was chosen as the date for the birth of the country, because it is representative of the dog star being at the highest point, an Antichrist symbol. So yeah, this country's not exactly what you think it is. It has two meanings, a good meaning and a bad meaning, depending on how you want to look at it. So you might also notice that the barbed wire is mostly facing inward. You can tell because there's two sharp spikes facing the inside, and the other parts facing the outside. But this is to keep people in. Now there's 6 lights up here. Some have speculated that means there may be 6 good months before something tragic happens. So that's a possibility. So perhaps July might be the month when things start to kick off. There was an earthquake on July 4th, by the way, a pretty powerful one. Pete was saying that he thought something would probably happen on July 4th, and he's been saying it for several days now, and gave me some pretty good reasons for it. So, and then, sure enough, we get a big earthquake. So, all right, let's go to about the 12-second mark here, and I'm seeing that it is with. I'm going to have to, in order to see it, I'm going to have to move it up just a little bit, or I won't stop in the right places. Now you're going to see, okay, so now you're going to see already that he has the mark of the beast on his forehead. Not a big surprise there. Then he's going to turn his head 3 times counterclockwise, as if he's making the clock go backwards. So he's going to go back and kind of go through time. And his eyes begin to twirl, as if he's in a trance or hypnotizing you in some way. So we're going to take us down to about 18 seconds. Watch the twirls. We're going back in time. Oh, and look at the dice. Look at the dice. I pet goats. Okay, so the letters rolled in like they're casting lots. Gambling in a sense, and then listen to what the goat does. He makes this interesting sound. Ooh, like a trumpet. That's not a sound that a goat makes. That's a trumpet sound. So he's heralding in something that's about to happen. So he's going to take you through what's been going on throughout time, and it kind of reminds you of the trumpet, like Trump Pence, perhaps. And I don't think that's a coincidence that Trump Pence are together, and it sounds like trumpets. And of course, we got that from Zach Hubbard on the Gematria Effect News, is the one that thought of that first. And I have to say that it really gets you thinking, how could that possibly be a coincidence? And then here this goat, he makes this trumpeting sound. So we're going to keep watching. I'm going to stop it at 24 seconds. This thing's rich. You just have to keep watching. Oh, there's the puppet master. Not hard to see that the reptilian hands. There's a snake, but it also looks like a dollar sign, so the devil is money. So the puppet master are the ones who control the strings for the banking industry, the banking masters. And let's see, we'll keep on here. Look who's being controlled on the strings. George Bush. And okay, so George Bush, his hands are up in the air. At first, like you weren't supposed to, like he was holding them up for just a second. He's like you're not supposed to see what you're about to see. But then his hands go down, and you kind of start to see what actually happens. And we start to see on the blackboard, we see a lightning bolt, symbolic of Satan. This over here, you don't see yet. There's a reason for that, but you will see it in a little bit. It's blurry right now. It's hard to make out, but you will understand it. So you see that the devil is destroying the brain. Now look over here where the word evolution is missing. What are the missing letters? IOU, right? Like IOU, like I owe you money, that kind of thing. So let's go to 32 through 39. See, he's dancing, and he's going to sit down. And his head spins around all demonically. He's kind of playing dumb. See, he's going to wear a dunce cap. And we see a shark. There was 3 hearts on the board. So he's playing dumb, but he really knows there's a shark. The IOUs, now you had to be paying attention to the IOUs. Well, what are the IOUs bringing? Well, they're bringing death, right? Here's a man hanging. And of course, over here, the snowflake is a 6-pointed star, the Jewish star. Obviously, that's who's backing him. So, and of course, it's behind his back, so who's backing him? Well, Israel, of course. And let's go a little further. Nope. Alright. Did forget to mention the checker floor, by the way, the Masonic checker floor right up here. And I think we saw it a second ago, but we're not seeing it right now. I don't want to get too far ahead because you literally have to stop every few seconds on this thing. But over here on the map, well, you see this is a pecker, right? So obviously there's some sex cult rituals going on. As soon as he turns around, you see the house is really on fire. So IOUs and debt, the house is on fire now. And look at the events that happened when George Bush was here. 9/11. There's a pin on 9/11. There's the one on Katrina and the oil spill, BP oil spill. So let's see. Let's get to right here. This is actually at 46 seconds, which is actually where I was meant to stop it next, and I coincidentally stopped it just perfectly. So Bush is pointing up. Here's we got evolve. Evolve or die. You're going to have to change some things. You're going to have to get off oil or whatever, and they'll make some more oil references because the house is on fire. Debt is too high, and you'll see here in a second the clock above him points exactly. Actually, is that because you can't? Oh, here you go. That's why I forgot that I scrolled down. But the clock up here, you'll see later, is pointing directly to midnight. Isn't that interesting that this stops right here at his finger? So obviously he knows. He's probably in with this sex cult that's going on in Washington D.C. At least according to this author, and I think he probably almost certainly was, knowing what I know about the Bushes and the Thelema cult and how his mother was almost certainly Aleister Crowley's daughter, who was involved in sex magic and so forth. So, all right, let's go up to 51 seconds. Oh, and did you see the eclipse on his cheek? Here it is, right. Yeah, I have to go scroll down a little bit. I can see the seconds. Look for that. Oh, there it is. See, there's that eclipse that we saw on the doorknob. See, I said we'd see it again, and there it is. So, and you'll see here 56 through 57 seconds here. See the teacher just kind of like, what the huh? And here he is making his devil horns again, screaming at the teacher like, I know better than you, just pay attention to me. And now we see the dragon on the wall. Well, so now the symbol just suddenly became clear. We couldn't see it before. We also couldn't see this heart before. Now this back here, we have not figured out what this means. It says F equals minus F. I don't have, there's like half an arrow on top and half an arrow over here. We have yet to figure that out. So, And remember, we stopped it at 46 seconds earlier because 46 is like sacrifice, because the word sacrifice, like a matrix equals 46. And here you have 1, 2, 3, 4 6-pointed stars. And that's when he was, pointing up to the wiener up there, So representing the sex magic and all that. So that's all connected like that. Now, he's about to scan the students. There he is. He kind of pointed somewhere. And that's definitely important. There was also a human heart poster back on the wall that wasn't clear before. I'm not exactly sure. I think he's saying, there was some hearts at the beginning. Well, there's a human heart now. So, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure why the human heart is there. Because is he saying that he's trying to control your heart as well, as well as your thoughts? Here, your brain is being broken by the devil. So I suppose if the dragon is coming between the brain and the heart, so I think the idea is that it's controlling both your heart and your mind. So, and here 59 seconds here, he looked straight, he pointed straight at the camera there for just a brief second, and makes some more devil horns, and then his head just spins around again, just all devilish, like he's possessed or something by that. Right after we saw that devil, that dragon in the back. So, and then you're going to see very briefly, you have to look really close. In the next couple seconds, he'll actually put his hands behind his back, and like he's making a shark. And that'll be important because you'll see shark again. And he'll watch his lips. He makes fish lips. So he's obviously doing there was a shark on the blackboard, and now he's going to act like a shark. So maybe there he is. See, there's the shark. So he looks like the shark. And then now watch what happens. All of a sudden, he's just going to, oh, wow, now I'm Obama. So if I want to play like a shark, I go from playing dumb, and now I'm Obama, and I'm going to take it to the next level. So, and then you'll notice that he has a scholar cap on. He's not acting dumb anymore. He's now at the next level, and he has that same little eclipse on his cheek that Bush had, and that was on the doorknob at the very beginning. So, let's see. Obama weeks with his right eye closed, or left eye closed rather, and right eye open, and look at his teeth. He has these vampire teeth. So yeah, he's taking it to the next level. He's going to suck your blood, and you'll remember that the national debt more than doubled under Obama. So that might be what they're talking about there. That he was going to just suck the life out of America financially. And of course, you get that's a one eye symbolism up here. So. And then in the next second, he'll smile sheepishly. Yeah, I know how to play the role really well, but then he puts his hands together because he's scheming, and then you'll see that his shoes have this shiny little point on there. You'll see his shoe tip here in a little bit, and so you'll know that it's him. And he stands and he peers. Oh, you're right, yeah. Oh, I think I missed. Oh, I can't go back because that's what happens if I miss it. But if you look, there was a LOL right there. If you look in that little window that I opened up, if I click this with my mouse, though, it'll go back. So I can't rewind. I can only go forward, unfortunately. But look in that little box, and you'll see there's an LOL on the board. And so some people say that's probably the two towers of masonry. I think that's what Pete was feeling. And the O is just in the middle, like the sun or the sun horns or something like that. Just as the Twin Towers was always depicted with the sun between them. So, but the Twin Towers always represented the two towers of masonry. How do you pronounce that? Boaz and Joaquin or something like that. The pillars of mercy and severity. So, and, so to him it's just a big joke, though. Okay, so now we go to this scene, and we have the woman in white, kind of like the bride of Christ that wears white, And she has I don't know if this is the original apple, like the fall of mankind. She's She's the reason that man fell because she ate of the fruit first. So I think this is Eve's symbolism, you know. And but it's Eve, yes, but she's also the bride of Christ. That's why she's wearing white. And you'll see that she's protected by like a witch circle, you know, and all these evil golem-like clay figurines are all behind her. But look at this. Most of them she's protected from. She's protected with an inner circle, and she's protected from extreme evil like the yin yang here, you know, satanic forces. That's kept away from her. This is in the future. This might represent Donald Trump. See the hair? Okay. All these over here, they're all kept back, kept back, kept back. But here's like a figure I think might be praying. This one's allowed in. Okay. This one's trying to step in. And I don't know, it kind of looks a little bit alienish to me, like it's trying to get into our world just a little bit. That'd be my best guess on that one. So let's see. This is also interesting. Here's the white lotus flower, which lotus flower, you'll see purple lotuses here in a minute, but here's the first little, I think it's a lily actually. Yeah, that's a lily. That's not the same as the flowers we're going to see in a minute. So, yeah. This kind of flower is the kind that actually eats insects, I'm pretty sure. They make those cups. I have one that grows in my front yard, and they actually eat insects, believe it or not. They don't close on them, but they get trapped in there and it dissolves them. But anyway, here's the white rabbit. Okay, like, you know, Alice in Wonderland. Let's see how, you know, that's where we get terms like, let's see how far this rabbit trail goes, you know. And so these forces all want her, of course, to take the rabbit trail and to come out of the circle. So these are all the choices. She could get caught, you know, like an insect. She could follow the rabbit trail, or she could go this way over here where the stag is, you know, which is a masonry symbol. If I could click it without shutting off my my video here, then I would be able to show you here on masonry where they call on a website here where they call themselves stags on a Freemason website. But so, and that represents, you know, male fertility and so forth. So she could get out of the circle and go any of these ways, and then all these creatures are waiting. Okay, let's go pretty deep in it. It's like every couple seconds, and look, we're 17 minutes into the video, and we're only 1 minute and 17 seconds into the video itself. It's crazy. So it all goes dark except for the bride and the rabbit. And she kind of looks like she's asleep or something. She just fell asleep. So, you know, the bride of Christ fell asleep. She drops the apple and it rolls past the L-O-L. Is that what that is? We still haven't quite figured this one out. You know, it's going across the checkerboard. So, you know, there's always more on this that we haven't completely figured out. But look what it hits. There's Obama's shoe right there, right? And out comes something that looks like a little worm. And you'll see the coin that Obama's stepping on too. So, so the apple hits his shoe, and his shoe is on the money. So, so if the apple represents the fall of mankind, perhaps the first fruit that Eve ate, you know, now maybe that is symbolized now by money. That would be maybe a reasonable guess for this. But when the worms come, they create a purple lotus. Now, Pete says it was a purple lotus that Trump gave to the Pope. I thought it was white. I could have swore it was, but maybe it was a purple lotus. But it's definitely a symbol of you know, meditation and yoga and that sort of thing. It's somewhat of a peace symbol. So it's really weird how, like, all these disasters that are going to happen in this movie are first kind of symbolized with a peace offering or a peace symbol. You know, a meditative thought. It's kind of like saying you should stop and think about this for a little bit. And you'll see that several times throughout this. So, oh, look at that. He's looking kind of worried there. It's almost like he's saying, time is short. I better think about this and make a move and do whatever it is I'm going to do, right? And now here in just a few seconds, we're going to see something scribbled graffitied onto a board. And you can see that it says Psalm 23. That part wasn't too hard to pick out, but what I didn't see and what Pete was seeing was Donald, D-O-N-A, right here, L-D. So maybe there might even be a, that Donald Trump this prophecy is coming possibly. So that's a little hard to see. So, it's not, a lot of this is open to interpretation. There's definitely another lightning bolt, which, Barack Obama in Hebrew means lightning falling from heaven. So it's not surprising there. So the 23rd Psalm is he leads me through still waters, the Psalm of the Good Shepherd. And here the devil is just splitting that wide open. There's not going to be any more peace anymore. We just had a symbol of peace, but then, Psalm 23 is being broken here by the devil. And we see a tattered flag goes by. It almost kind of looks like it turns into a bat if you look carefully for a second. It pause it just the right second, but I wouldn't necessarily. It's so fast, you had to pause it just right. But, bat's like a devil symbol or whatever. And here we see that the World Trade Centers are on fire in the background. That's pretty obvious. I'm going to scroll up here for a second. Okay. So let's see. We see the sharks. These kind of look like shark teeth again. Another shark symbolism. So all the sharks are coming for the money and the World Trade symbol. It kind of also look like a tidal wave. Pete says that could be one of those symbols. Like I think if you fold a $20 bill just right, some people say it looks like a tidal wave going to hit New York City. And I've seen TV shows. I wish I could remember the name of that one. I think it was Heroes. Heroes, they painted a painting of, that was it. Show Heroes, this guy had superpowers. He painted a painting of Washington, D.C. being destroyed by a tidal wave. And, there's been some other movies where you've seen that happen too, I'm sure. So the World Trade Centers are on fire and they begin to crumble. So, let's see. And then we're going to see somebody dancing here. Let's see if you know who that is, okay? He's got a mask. Well, if you ever heard of the Mask of Loki, of course you know from Thor now because of Avengers. But the old Loki, he wore a mask. Like The Mask, if you ever watched that show, The Mask, that was called Loki's mask that he wore. Because it had the spirit of Loki, the deceiver. But you'll see that he's always dancing this Shiva dance, the dance of destruction, like they have outside of CERN. You may have noticed that recently. If you're into the truth community, I'm sure you've come across that already. So here is Shiva doing his dance of destruction. And then he's going to dive into the water in the Bible. The water represents humanity, which will come into play later. And here's Anubis's boat. No. Here's the boat of Anubis that's coming out from Egyptian folklore. Right at the very end, we'll see the pyramid. So that's connected on purpose. So something is coming out from antiquity. Scroll down so I don't miss my seconds here. And first, okay. You thought we were still looking at the boat, you thought we were still looking at that boat, and instead we had a Bin Laden figure, and he was standing on an island that looks like the Gulf of Oman, or Oman. Is it Onan or Oman? Oman, the Gulf of Oman, yeah, with an army. So it looked like he was raising an army. He was lifting his arms up. And he had a little CIA pennant on his chest. Sorry, I can't stop it quite fast enough sometimes. I wish I could back up without it stopping. And on his back, if you go back, he had wings. This is why it's like every second you have to stop this because this thing's so deep. He had black wings like a demon, and an Islamic moon eclipse in the background. All that went by in just that couple seconds. So if you don't stop it fast enough, you'll miss it. There's an Islamic moon eclipse and everything, so they're showing that Islam is going to have a big play in this end times deception. And there was a little flash of lightning. There it is right there, which lightning symbolizes the devil. Right at 2 minutes and 23 seconds. That's probably not a coincidence either, because that's the Skull and Bones insignia. And look, it's the Skull and Bones insignia was the devil over the oil towers, and then oil seems to be running out because there's just a little bit trickling out through the sort of pipeline thing, and one little drop just comes out. That's it. So then there's a little bit of lightning again, and let's see. Then we're going to go into the Statue of Liberty. But the Statue of Liberty in real life sits on an 11-pointed star called a kiloboth, which is a device that in I don't know what's the right word. Sacred geometry, I guess, is kind of like the idea of turning 2 into 1. Well, she's not standing on a kiloboth on this. Look what she's actually standing on here. Just like, so if you wondered if the snowflakes at the beginning were actually pointing to Judaism and the 6-pointed star, well, here's that reference again. So the Statue of Liberty is clearly being said by this person to be related to Judaism and to the occult, and that America is tied up with the Jews and with Israel. I think that's pretty obviously what they're saying here. And of course, the Statue of Liberty is a Columbia symbol. Just the same thing you see on the movies when you see that Columbia symbol that looks like the Statue of Liberty. And it's it goes back to Ashtart or Diana of Ephesus. It's all this superwoman kind of occult Tammuz mythology that goes way back for thousands of years, all the way back to ancient Egypt and even further back than that. So now, interestingly, so she's bearing this torch all these years, and then look what happens to her torch. And there it goes. Light goes out on America, and it begins to fall. Pete pointed out that New York and the English Sumerian cipher on gematrinator.com, New York is 666 in the English Sumerian cipher. So now we're going to go, oh, there's a baby in a womb. So, so what could be forming? Is America falling because of, its sacrifice, its human sacrifice, all these millions of abortions that are being offered to Satan? Well, that could be. But I think rather they're saying that something is forming in this womb. So it's in an egg. It's not in a womb right now. It's actually in an egg. So that egg symbol is like the Vesica Pisces, which represents the womb of the whole universe. So something's being born here, but what's being born isn't really human. It's now being something that is between the serpent and this devil hand, and being studied very carefully by this reptilian eye. So this looks like it's some sort of a reptilian baby, so to speak. And squeezing that egg real tight, checking it carefully. When's my baby coming? When is the Antichrist going to rise through the womb of the universe? Which they're going to show that symbol even more clearly here in a little bit. So here's the boat of Anubis. I'm not going to say boot this time. Get my tongue tied. But there's the boat of Anubis that carries, through the afterlife. But in this case, it's carrying a messenger through time. And who is this messenger? Well, it looks very much like an Antichrist symbol, and I believe that's who this person is. He's got this heart symbol on his chest. He's like, yeah, I'm coming in peace. Like the Bible says, when they all say peace and safety, that's when certain destruction's coming. So he's going to come with this symbolism of love, and his heart might be resting on blood. See, could possibly be like a symbol you know, homosexuality or something like that too. Free love, that sort of thing. And here he is. Let's see. Well, let's hope this doesn't stop on me. Half an hour into it, that would really be a bummer, wouldn't it? Okay. There's an all-seeing eye on his head, so we know what that represents. You know, he's got the power of the third eye, and what's in the third eye? Well, this devil symbol, you know. And he has an upside-down pyramid, as above, so below. So he must be at the top of the pyramid, and above that, looking down. So here's the devil, or the spiritual force that controls the Antichrist. It looks like a genie and a gold earring there, you know. So let's see. Here's like a TV. So the same devil, he's also controlling this television-like thing that's right next to this broken head of this kid. You'll see his skull cap is back there. Okay, so this devil symbol is forming a baby, you know, and what is that baby? Well, it's also in the minds of these broken-headed children that all they understand is what they see through the media and through television. You'll see he has a yellow vest or yellow shirt, you know, kind of like the yellow vests in France right now. You know, it's just being controlled, just doing exactly what they're being told to do, and not even aware of what they're doing. You know. So let's see here, and lost my place here just a little bit, so I apologize for that. Okay, the boy's talking a little bit, you know, trying to think, but he can't really think very much for himself because the thoughts are just what's going on. Or just what are the thoughts that he puts, this devil puts in his head. And here you see, you know, the market's crashing and war, I think is what it says up here, you know. So in his eyes, so all he sees is just markets plunging and war. And here you see. He looks up, oh, and he sees stealth bombers that kind of look like those triangle UFOs. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. We don't really know what UFOs are. Some people say they are made by our government. Some people say they're not. You know, that's not really the point of what I'm trying to say here. So I'll point out that what they really are here is that they're Freemason symbols, you know. So you got the square and the compass right here. So they're saying this is clearly, in my mind, this is clearly what they're saying. This is a Freemason attack, a war that's coming, and look what they bomb. I'm gonna go if I can just make it scroll down just a little bit so I can watch my timer. Come on, scroll down. There we go. All right, bombs go, and they hit the mosque, which is on a mount, which I would guess is probably the Temple Mount. Okay, so the Masons are probably at some point, the world system, they're going to probably blow up the Temple Mount, or it could just represent a future war against Islam. Okay, and here in about 2 seconds, you're going to see some bats. They are just flying out. So it's like bats always represent the devil. So it's, you know, that's why I thought that flag earlier may have turned into a bat if you paused it just the right second. But so again with the eclipse symbol, so we've had the doorknob, we've had Bush, we've had Obama, and here another crescent moon on the mosque, all representing, I think, probably the war that they're going to try to create through Masonry between the East and the West. That's been planned for a long time, just like Albert Pike spoke about way back in the 1800s when he talked about the 3 world wars. Yeah, we're going to see the Antichrist coming again. Oh, and that was just so darn fast. He catches a moth, which just burns, you know, and incinerates, you know, like a moth to the flame. So he's attracting attention, and this by destroying that mosque, it's really bringing his power into focus. It's really bringing the world's attention to him, you know, like a moth to a flame. So, and of course he destroys that, and then it goes by so quick. And there we go with Loki and the Shiva dance again. I think it's a different mask this time. Maybe represents a different religion. And so quickly. See, you just only go a few seconds and you have to stop. Stop again. Here's a Virgin Mary, but she's not wearing the typical blue that they usually show. No, she's wearing black, like she's some sort of false Virgin Mary. And instead of Jesus, this is some sort of other kind of prophet, that we're seeing that's going to be brought about by this explosion, this nuclear explosion that's coming out of her hand. So this is not the Christ, this is some sort of different Christ, a false prophet, I believe. And we'll see some more of him, no doubt, here in just a few minutes. So I want to scroll back down so I can see my timer. Because it's so easy to miss stuff on here. You see the child has this weird eye. And, of course, there's what I think is a dung beetle crawling on his forehead here. And I don't think his eye ever opens on this, which I thought it when I was watching, I was going to see his eye just pop open or something, but it doesn't. But there's actually a Bible verse that talks about how one eye is closed, and God will close the other eye, and open the correct eye. And you'll see all the celebrities. If you just punch in bruised eye on celebrities and politicians, you'll see just hundreds of examples of how they've all been intentionally, ritually abused on their eyes, bruised on their eyes. And apparently it's attracting this scarab beetle from ancient Egypt, this dung beetle. So let's see, and then it just very fast just goes right into the next scene, so I don't want to miss it. So let's go 323. Okay, now we're going to see, like, here's an African symbol. The guy's got the skull and bones, another 322 like we talked about earlier. 322 is the number for skull and bones, so I'm a little confused that he's going to pull this string right here. I think he's saying that we're going to pull the string on the war in Africa. He's going to open this boy up so that he can fight. They use a lot of boy soldiers over there that aren't the age, and in some of these third world countries, so he's pulling the string to just release them to fight. And he acts a lot like a robot. His eyes are glowing, and then the lights are going to go out. And I think it's just symbolic of there's no hope for these people, and that they're just part of the agenda. And the skull and bones and the secret societies are controlling the entire world. So we'll watch that happen. We'll go to the next scene here. Pulls that up. Okay, so the robot's awakened, the lights go out in the boy, and he's just ready for battle. And now we see the purple lotus. Let's just go down and here. Remember, the lotus is like a symbol of peace and meditation. Going down a river. Oh, but look, we came in peace, but look, here's a Hispanic person in Venezuela with a hammer and sickle, probably. Communism drowning. Okay, we came in peace, but we're going to destroy this communist symbol. Now remember, this thing was made in 2012. Did he know all this stuff that was going to happen? Well, you're going to see something else that this guy who made this obviously knew was going to happen. So he's definitely somebody that has some insider information. No doubt. So you'll see he's definitely Hispanic, because over here on his arm, you'll see, if you look real close, it says Warritos, which I don't know what that means, but I know it's Hispanic, right? So. And you also see another eclipse on his cheek if you look real closely. So I'm going to scroll down so I don't miss the next few seconds here. Just look how fast these go, just a few seconds more. And we go from Africa to Venezuela. Now we're going to go to what I think is China. You're seeing the yin yang, and it's going to merge together, kind of like when I did a video on Kim Jong-un and the South Korean Prime Minister Moon, and all it's missing is the S. So the sun and the moon is representing like the yin and yang coming together. But this is also like Tiananmen Square, where the one guy stood in front of the tanks, but in this case it's a girl. And we'll get a close up of this girl. Pause it again here. Got a little dragon on her back. So, oh yeah, and there's like a skull. So there's the little tiger, Bengal tiger. I think that represents China. I wouldn't swear to it. But definitely some symbolism there because she's waving a white peace flag against all the tanks and acting like she doesn't want war. But there's this skull saying that's going to try to get her attention, even though she's trying to protest. I don't want war. I don't want war. But let's see who the skull is, it represents here in a minute. Oh, she looks. She goes, "Hey, I don't want war." Look how she has the heart on her cheek. So she's like, "Yeah, love. That's what I want." And over here, no, she's got the nukes crossed out. I don't want any nukes. Oh, but look who he is. Oh, he's it's 4th of July fireworks. He's representing America and Uncle Sam. And he's like, yeah, but I do. So guess what? There's going to be war, whether you like it or not. Yeah, so she might be speaking love and all that, but, war is going to come. So, according to this. And I think that definitely is usually what happens. Doesn't matter how much we go out there and try to encourage peace. It seems that our overseers only want war. Seems like most of the people on earth want peace, but the rulers want war. So here we see the Antichrist on the Anubis boat, getting ever closer to wherever he's going. His eyes are still closed. He still hasn't awakened yet. Hasn't quite been born yet. His time hasn't quite come yet, but it's getting very close. His feet are on fire. And we're going to see a few more seconds here. And we're going to see the little demon thing again. Oh, okay. Now he's controlling this boy with the yellow shirt. I don't think it just represents the yellow vest people. No, I think it's just, all the people that he programs. And he's already in their head, so now they are completely powerless. And you'll see that most of the masses of the world are completely powerless to the agenda of the elites and their spiritual forces behind them. They just basically act because they have to. They have no ability to understand their way in this world, and so they're just completely lost and completely controlled. Aha, the star chart. So there's the boat of Anubis, and we were talking about Sirius. And here's a star chart, and Sirius is at its highest point on July 4th. So that's kind of what got us thinking about this. So here Sirius represents the Antichrist, and here's the Antichrist coming in on that ancient Egyptian boat. And so it makes a lot of sense right there. So, and aha, so that power from on high, the spirit of Sirius, and just completely empowers him. So now he's empowered with all the ancient mysteries. He's empowered with the brainwashing of the people and of the humanity. It's all coming together now. And so now that he has all this power, he's ready to breathe fire, and he's about to be born. There was a little, I don't know, little ball of something in the back there. It looked kind of like an ovule in a mouth or an egg. But now we get another little symbol here. Rocks falling, so his past is caving in, and he's about to be born. Okay, you're about to see that. I think he did come through the womb there so fast it's hard to see. So, let's see. He had a little lightning power strike him there, and here we got the Shiva guy. He's saying destruction's coming. It's getting really close. The mask is more pronounced than ever. As the destruction is coming, heralding in this Antichrist figure. Now watch this. Fish. Remember how Jesus said, I'll make you fishers of men? So the Antichrist is representing the opposite. He's bringing in people into his own boat. So the fish represent the people. Everybody's attracted to the Antichrist. Nobody ever votes out the Antichrist. They voted in Hitler. They're when he comes to power, he'll be saying peace and love and all this stuff. And the vast majority of the people of the world are just going to jump on the boat with him. There's not going to be a whole lot of resistance, especially at the beginning. Okay, now here we go. So here's that next scene, and you see this looks like one of the giants, in my opinion. If you ever watch Mud Fossil University, you'll see that the world looks like it may have been. A lot of the fossils may have even be giants that have fallen to the ground. You know, different opinions on that. Wouldn't be upset if you didn't agree with that by any stretch, but obviously he has a phallic symbol here, so he's representing, you know, reproduction and so forth. So that's pretty clear there. And then a hand's going to come out from the sky and shine down on it. So obviously this was the way that, and it looks like a holy hand, a white hand. So he's saying, well, this is the way it was always done. Okay, now there's heart, there's love. God says, well, there was love for a woman, and she's an old woman, so she's been in this prison for a long time, and it's not that she's, you know, she just represents this is how it's always been done. Okay, so you have a heavenly ordained phallic symbol, and she goes, wait, what is this weird light? You know, what, you're trying to get rid of me? You know, the way things have always been done, the way reproduction has always worked, and you'll see she had a period for all these years, you know, and all of a sudden it vanishes. You know, it's kind of sick. This guy made this, you know, I mean, helio and font, like, you know, sun and infant, you know, helio font. So anyway, so he's saying, you know, child of the sun or whatever. He thinks he's really something. The guy that made this, but here, you know, you got the scratches on the wall showing that she's been here for a long time. You know, this is the way it's always been. But this light is coming in and saying, no, we're not going to make children like that anymore. We're going to do it some other way. Maybe we're going to resurrect the Nephilim, kind of like that big fallen giant symbol or whatever, you know. And oh, there we go. We see the DNA. So the DNA is going to be changed, and this is sort of turning into the womb of some other sort of being that's going to come out of it. And let's see, I don't want to miss anything here. Okay, so the prison vanishes, and so clearly reproduction is not going to be done that way. And I forgot to pause it, but if you looked very carefully, there was an XXX on her shoes, kind of like maybe XXX symbolizes 666, or perhaps you know, triple X movies or whatever. Though anyway, that might be like the path or the way out of getting reproduction done the normal way, and the path towards this new method of reproduction. And so it's not going to be humanity anymore. It might be Nephilim, hybrids, chimera, or maybe some sort of, you've heard all the theories probably, you know, if you've been in the truth community very long, could be robotic, assimilation, that sort of thing, combination between humans and robots. We don't really know exactly how it's going to happen yet. So the Antichrist was under that DNA spiral, so that's showing that he's in with that. And it kind of goes back to the blackboard at the very beginning. You know, you evolve or die was the idea, so we got to change things. And then here at this scene, we're seeing yet again the Loki Shiva dance, and very fast. And very quickly, we have to stop it again. You see that all these businessmen carrying briefcases and have ties, they're all made of ash, like they're just ready to be completely destroyed. And then very quickly, oh, you can't hardly see it, but it's Antichrist figure, and boom, he destroys all the business in the world, all the businessmen, okay? And they just all very easily just fall to ash before him. And so now he stretches out, yeah, stretching my muscles, he's ready to go, you know. So this demon thing, he leaves the yellow shirt people, and then he like goes behind, like he's rejoining the Antichrist, you know, to be with him, so that the Antichrist now has more direct control over the people. He doesn't have to use the TV anymore. This TV, this media conglomeration, it's all gone now because he's here. So he doesn't have that. There's the boy with the broken head and an empty mind. Represents pretty much everybody on Earth now. And there is what the death skeleton is orchestrating everything. So he's, you know, waving his wand. So death is definitely coming. And there was that boy that was laying on the arms of the black-robed Virgin Mary, this false prophet. And how do we know that he's a false prophet? Most likely because look where he is coming out of now. He's got the full moon. We no longer have the crescent moon. The crescent moon has now become a full moon, and he's on top of that mosque, sitting on top of what I think was probably the Temple Mount, where they might build the third temple or whatever. So now they've got the full moon and the whole glory of the false prophet there. So I think that's what that's talking about. So he'd be, the second part of this whole false Antichrist system. You have the Antichrist and the false prophet together. Now this is where something I'm not 100% sure about, because Loki's about to put on a different kind of mask, and it's going to turn into something a little different. I don't know what that is. Is it a frog? Is it a bear? It does kind of, now Pete was saying that it does kind of look like first an eagle and then it turns into a bear, like in Revelation, eagle and bear like. So, and then he has that glowing thing on his chest that's, I think it's like a one world religion kind of thing. It's not quite a cross, it's not quite any other specific symbol, but I think that might be possibly the symbol there. And if you looked real close, there were sharks that just came out of the shark fins again. So the sharks are all around them. So these sharks that we've been seeing this whole time is that all these characters that are bringing this end about are out for destruction. And that right there, I don't know what he turned into there. It might have been a bat again. Power, but right here now here's where the Antichrist is born. Here's an obvious vagina, womb, whatever you want to say, and here he's being born, coming out through here with a bunch of fire in his eyes. Very born out. And let's see, Notre Dame, you'll see this. Remember, this was made in 2012. And right behind his head, you're going to see Notre Dame crumble and the steeple fall, exactly like what happened here in, when was it, March? I think it was. So amazingly, this guy seemed to know that that was going to happen too. There it is. And when he was coming through that womb there, you saw the devil over top of it. The devil was obviously being birthed here through the Antichrist. And they say, Pete was telling me that the Ethiopian calendar is 7 years behind our calendar. And let's see, so this was made in 2012, and then 7 years later is when this happened. So when Notre Dame fell. So that's very interesting. And and I didn't even see it happen so fast. It's hard to notice everything and read the notes at the same time. But you'll see that his crown of thorns also disappeared. So I think that means all of his restraints were lifted, because the crown of thorns on the real Jesus was a curse, but crown of thorns would sort of be like the opposite on the Antichrist, I think is what they're trying to say. His thorns disappear, so his restraints are gone. And maybe right here, Pete thinks maybe this might be the Sears Tower. I've been in the Sears Tower a few times. I can kind of see that. Could be, and he spends a lot of time up there, so he may just be thinking about, because he spends a lot of time up there, I don't know. So let's see, and then at a few more seconds here, we're going to see some shooting stars. And shooting stars, the stars falling from heaven. Antichrist or whatever. And then one of these, right there, he hit the pyramid. And now these pyramids are going to crumble. Well, why are they crumbling? Because they represent the ancient mysteries of Osiris and Nimrod. And here the actual Antichrist is coming into the world. So why do you need the ancient mysteries anymore? So you don't need the mysteries if you got the real thing. And then up here you have the scorpion tail, Scorpio. And you have the phoenix, the bird. Some people say that the Scorpio and the phoenix are related to each other. And that's pretty much it. You see some more shooting stars. Some say that all the angels haven't fallen from heaven yet, that they're still falling. I don't know if that's true or not. Make up your own mind there. And there he is. Heliophant, infant of the sun, or son of the sun, or child of the sun, or whatever is what this guy's calling himself. So basically thinks he's part of the Illuminati. I don't know. Maybe he is, because he obviously knew some things that maybe he shouldn't, or that others don't know. So thanks for watching, and I hope you'll like, share, and subscribe.